Hello everyone! In this video we're going to practice interpreting a self-portrait using the visual content available in the photograph. We're going to be analyzing a self-portrait by the photographer Robert Mapplethorpe. To do that, we're going to begin with a visual description of the image, and then we will look for any symbols or details that we can use to decipher or interpret the artist's intentions. This photograph is titled Self-Portrait from 1988. In the image, we see the artist in a half-body shot positioned off-center to the right. He is facing forward, staring straight at the camera. Mapplethorpe is wearing all black, blending into the black background. All we see is his face and his right hand, which is reaching straight out toward the camera, holding a cane that is topped with the head of a skull. This photograph has a very dynamic balance of positive and negative space. Mapplethorpe's face, which looks as if it is floating in a dark void, is positioned in the top right corner of the image. On the bottom left corner of the photo is his hand holding the skull-headed cane. The rest of the image is dark negative space, as we can barely make out the outline of his arm and body that separates him from the background. It is as if he himself is being pulled into the shadows or darkness, literally and figuratively, as if he is disappearing without hope as the skull dominates the image. The skull dominates the photograph in two ways. The first is due to it being spatially positioned closer to the camera than the artist is. The second way the skull dominates or commands our attention is from it being in focus, whereas the artist is actually shown out of focus. Mapplethorpe purposely used a shallow depth of field to intentionally blur his face. Now, the skull symbolically represents death and mortality. In art history, specifically Dutch still lifes, the symbol of the skull represents the Latin phrase memento mori, which translates to remember you must die. So, artistically, the skull is a symbolic reminder of the inevitability of death, and Mapplethorpe is staring head-on towards death, acknowledging his mortality and confronting death itself with his firm grasp of the cane. All while he is slowly fading into the background, into darkness itself, as if death is winning. This is all based on the visual content available. We could additionally add the context of the time period. This photograph was taken in 1988. However, in 1986, Robert Mapplethorpe was diagnosed with AIDS, a disease which was also affecting the lives of many of his friends and associates. During this time, most people diagnosed with the disease did not survive longer than 2 years. Knowing that this was towards the end of his life adds another layer of context to the notion of death. As we think about the pain and suffering he had endured both in his personal health and in watching the people close to him dying, we could even interpret this as not only a bold confrontation to death itself, but also a surrender to death in search of relief. So, today we went over the visual content and deciphered some symbols and interpreted what our artist's intentions were and what the meaning of this self-portrait is. This is Self-Portrait by Robert Mapplethorpe from 1988.